And I believe that's us live. Guys, welcome to the JATV show. My name is Jamie O'Neill, and this is our first semi-live stream. I mean, we have been cheating a bit. We've been pre-recording some of the interviews, and some of the things you'll see tonight are pre-recorded, but that's just until we get on our feet. If you're a boxing fan, on Friday night, we'll be live streaming our Juries JATV Raw Boxing Takeover. So that's for Friday night boxing. So stay tuned for that. We'll be at the Juries Boxing Jam meeting Archie Jury and some of his boxers, pro boxers and Olympic style amateur boxers. In the meantime, so what topics have we got today? Well, the first one is face masks. It's a topic that everyone is going to have to wear a face mask, and everybody's going to have their views on it. The people that have got some conspiracy theories, there's other people that can't wear face masks because of medical reasons, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So my neighbour, who is next door, I was actually hoping to get a chat with him. However, just because of timing, I've got a lot of stuff going on with our new hotspot shop that's going to be opening in Govan, so I was late coming in. So what I've done is I've stolen his interview from the BBC 9 show. I'll let you have a wee look. I'm just going to play that now, and then I will give my opinion, and hopefully we can speak to Daniel when he comes back in his office, but he's not in now because it's a bit late. Anyway, watch this.
Now, Police Scotland say they didn't fine anyone over the weekend for breaking the new rules about wearing face coverings in shops. But what about those people who can't wear one for health reasons? It seems some of them got a hard time.
Not from the police, but from the retailers themselves. The charity Disability Equality Scotland has told us it's had dozens of calls from people initially turned away from shops, even though they tried to explain why they couldn't cover their face. Here's the Nine's India Grant with more.
I'm just at the Apple store just now, and I've been refused entry on the basis that everyone going in has to have their temperature checked, which is fine because I've done that. Sanitize your hands again, which I've done that. That's not a problem. But it comes down to this compulsory mask issue.
While out shopping in Glasgow, Daniel was initially refused entry to TK Maxx and Apple because he was not wearing a face covering. He has a disability, and covering his face would cause him breathing difficulties and anxiety. I asked him what he thought of people's concerns about the risks of some people being exempt from wearing coverings.
People are entitled to their opinion, of course they are, but it's also a discriminatory thing to say. You are saying to someone who has disabilities that they are a risk to other people. This is almost as if people with disabilities are somehow turned into lepers overnight.
What's to stop people just saying that they have a disability to get out of wearing a face mask?
I think that's a bit of a stereotype and a myth. In order to say I'm exempt, you actually have to have a degree of courage and know what you're talking about to explain that. I haven't come across anyone who is abusing the position. The people who I do know who have been refused entry to various shops the length and breadth of Scotland are genuine people who have disabilities.
So that was Daniel from the Disability Law Centre. He is based next door from us. So as I said, we will try and get a follow-up interview with Daniel in a few days' time, possibly on next week's show. But the situation remains that, and I'm a shop owner, so we've made sure that our staff know that we're encouraging people to wear face masks. However, we don't feel it's our job to force or start asking people questions about reasons as to why they're not. We can limit how many people come in the shop, but even that, I mean, we can't be in a position where we are asking people to prove their disabilities. I mean, what sort of situation would we be in? We're asking people for medical reports, and that's their personal. A lot of disabilities are personal issues that people shouldn't need to have to speak about in order to get into a shop. Compare that with the bars and the restaurants and that are going to be opening where people won't be wearing masks. So I think the message needs to be, if you can wear a mask, by all means wear a mask. If you feel comfortable, wear a mask. However, there are going to be many people that can't. There are some people that maybe they need to lip read, or people that they get anxiety and things like that are problems breathing that shouldn't. But the situation in the UK and the way I mean, it wasn't that long ago, there was a big issue about women wearing burqas and it was a tiny amount of women in the UK wear burqas. I'm lucky if I see maybe 5-10 women a year. However, we started demanding that laws are changed, and in France they did change the law and they banned certain types of headdresses for Muslim women. But now we're completely opposite. So what happened to all the security issues about wearing masks and covering your face and things like that? Is that they just don't exist anymore. I know we're in a different situation, but you need to look at some of the reasons that people were using to attack women. And it was an attack. It was attacking on women, Muslim women who wear burqas, are now up in the air, and we've flipped that on its head, and now we're encouraging everybody to wear masks, and shops are demanding that people do it. So as an interesting one, if you've got a viewpoint, tell me. Do you feel comfortable? I mean, I've seen the nurse. I've seen there's a poster, a picture of a nurse who's saying, "Oh, if I can wear this for 13 hours or 12 hours a day, then you should too." But that is in a hospital setting environment. As someone who's working in a hospital or care environment, that possibly you maybe would have known that you're going to be wearing a mask. But if you're out shopping, then it's a different story, I think, for people. A lot of people that have been locked up need to get out, and this may be another barrier that stops them from doing that. And if it's people who have disabilities who were maybe told that they can't leave the house for the medical reasons for weeks upon weeks, and finally when they feel like it's an opportunity to go out and they can go back to the shops and start meeting maybe friends, this, as I said, is another barrier that we really should be discouraging. So I don't think the words compulsory face coverings and things like that should ever be used. Okay, so my next topic is it's an interview from a few weeks ago. It was in this office when I interviewed my good friend, the Untouchable KASH FAROOQ. He is a professional boxer. We have put the whole interview on the JATV Raw Takeover. However, this is a short clip just to get an idea of what it's been like for professional boxers being locked up. Not just professional boxers, but boxers and coaches. Just the whole boxing scene just came to an end, and now it's recently been set back up. But a lot of boxers still don't know what's going on yet. So here it is, have a look. This is Untouchable KASH FAROOQ, who spoke to me just a few weeks ago. KASH FAROOQ, we already did a podcast, but we're not using that.
Right.
We've got a better office. Yeah. What do you think of our offices?
It's nice. First time being in this building.
I've actually got one picture in the show. It was a picture of me and you. I was going to stick here. I was just going to put it up. I don't know if I'm allowed to put anything in the wall. So how's things? You're back at training?
Well, I've been training for a while, to be honest, running, doing wee things, just...
I pulled that in a bit.
I've been keeping myself taken over, running, I just other wee small things, or circuits and that, so I've just been doing that for the last week, keep my waist steady.
Has it been tough, like, being lockdown, gyms not open?
It does, away from the gym, everything, last few things. Because I've never done this in my life. Last 10 years I've just been in the gym. And it's the first time I think in my life ever I've been away for that long from no sparring, nothing. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to me.
See, because it wasn't expected. Like it was just like, nobody really planned for this. If you planned a break, then maybe it would have been a bit different. You sort of take a step back, but you just went from training to just bang. Then it's a drop. I
didn't expect this switch. I thought I might have finished by April. Yeah. This lockdown. I thought that would have been it. Everything would be back to normal, but it's went on longer and longer, and it's probably going on a bit more longer. We've got probably a few more months of this to go, and I think that's the part. Obviously, we didn't know when it's gonna end. I think that was the hard part for everybody, especially for me as well. Because you get sick of running, doing the same things. You're gonna be sparring something coming up and that, like a fight wise, and I never had that. First of my career, never had nothing coming up. And it really, unmotivated me.
I think so. You don't have a date yet for when. No, there's a few dates being thrown about, and a few plans still being discussed. But you've always been like, right after a fight, and then a few weeks maybe break, and then it's set a date set, and then you get something to work towards. But like right now, it's kind of up in the air. How's that? How does it feel?
No, it does. Obviously, say the fight, you need something to look forward to. You need to be to get up in the morning to. Reason you're training is suppose obviously fight night, and obviously you've got opponent, that's the reason I guess you're motivated and that. But at the moment, obviously, you just need to keep your mind strong and keep training.
So do you still keep in touch? I know, obviously, you see Craig still in
No, I keep in touch with them, you know what I mean? I keep, you know what I mean?
and Colin and
I still keep in touch with them, see how they're doing and that. So, you know, just, you know, obviously things, you know, nothing's changed, obviously. It's not retired or anything, I mean.
So have you done it? Have you managed to do anything that you don't normally do?
I'm running, well...
Other than boxing? So have you, because I know what you're like, for like, it's just
No,
been
it's
back-to-back fights and
It's
training.
just probably the same, to be honest, probably more... So, no, it's just been the same, which you can't do too much there now.
How about food?
I've been enjoying my food, apart from that, yeah, I've been enjoying my food. Probably the first time I've enjoyed my food that much. I've been in my mum's dishes, you know what I mean? For the first time for that long. I usually after fight, I enjoy it for a couple of days. Then I stop, get back to my diet. And it's my first time I've been eating that much. I mean, chocolate, so I've enjoyed my chocolates. They're good.
I know you've always been dying for that.
Aye.
After your last fight, we went to, who's Bistro we went to?
Was it? I think so.
You and your wee bro.
Aye.
And you finished his food as well,
Aye.
if you remember.
I was hungry. After a fight, I'm always like that.
Do you get more a chance now to spend time? I know you and your brothers are close. You've got quite a tight family, but if you get more chance to spend time, like
I do.
your mum's cooking, but like your mum, your dad, you get a chance to maybe spend a bit more time.
Yeah, I do, because see me, usually I usually go to my bed maybe about 10 o'clock, and I get up early in the morning, I get out the house, running, I come home, rest up, then leave for the gym. Then obviously I come home at mid through the day, I sleep through the day, something like an hour or so, then I get ready for gym at night time. So I don't really do, and the weekends I don't really do too much either. I try to rest up, and because I need to get planned for the next day, get my clothes ready, and it's all always busy because I come home, I need to take my clothes out, get them washed, I need to eat food, just I give myself much time as I can when I'm in training.
So you still, are you still in a routine?
Yeah,
like
I'm just about, to be honest, I'm still waking up. I'm trying to wake up early as I can, try getting better as I can, try doing many sessions as I can, running wise, everything. Doing what I can to keep myself taken over.
So what's your hope? No, I mean,
I think
slowly things are starting to, like, discussions have been made, but I know nothing is like, there has been some plans.
You know, it was just Ramadan there as well, obviously. I was fasting and that, you know, and but obviously I took a bit of time off. Not time off, but I was doing wee bits and that, and obviously that was just me. So obviously I'm just finished a few weeks ago, and that was just me back, not back training, but that's me fully back training and that, and dieting, and you know, so it depends on how long my fitness comes back, and then hopefully we can take it from there, you know what I mean?
So was your initial plan to have your fight in April,
then
take a wee break for Ramadan, and then get back in and maybe another fight, say August, September?
Yeah, that was the plan, to be honest, but obviously now as things are the way they're heading, you know what I mean, this will be my first fight under Matchroom, whenever that is. But
is it frustrating?
It is, you know what I mean, because my first fight with Matchroom and everything, you know what I mean, it was a good, you know, it was a good bill, and I had good sparring. It's only 2 weeks to go, and everything just shut down, you know what I mean, and I would really like to get the boxers that I got their fights the way were really lucky ones, you know, and I was on the unfortunate ones, you know. My fight was only about 2 weeks to go, and it was disappointing, but you know, it was for the best. But
and you can watch that full interview on jtvscotland.com from last week's JTV Raw Friday Night Boxing. Last up, my last guest today. I'm hefty battering through this show right now. The future ones might be a bit longer. As I said, my head is absolutely buzzing with the new shop they're working on, and then in a few weeks' time I'm going to be going to Italy. I'm going to be me and a few of our friends are going to go visit some of my family there. It is safe. We've checked and we've been tested, but we're going to do another test just before we go. But that's the situation that we're in. So my last guest, who I spoke to yesterday, some people may have seen it on our Facebook page and on my Instagram page, is Etienne Kubwabo. This is his comic book, which is issue 1 of Beats of War, which tells the story of an alien that comes to Glasgow, who's never heard music before, And I'm not going to tell you all the ins and outs. We do talk about it during the interview, but it's a fantastic read. You can find out more information where you can find to the links to buy the comic book on jatvscotland.com/JATV show. There'll be details there when you can buy it. It is only $4.99. Please help the guy out. Like, I think it's definitely it's a new one, and it's good to have a young black superhero in Glasgow where we can find a lot of people can relate to it. It definitely speaks to me, and my nephew's read it as well. He's 13 years old and he's loving it. This is Beats of War. This is Etienne Kubwabo, who I spoke to yesterday. So we're here to talk about Beats of War. You've released issue 1, but before we get started in that, I just want to know a bit more about you. So if you tell me, how did this come about? What have you been involved in the past? Just tell me a bit about who's Etienne.
Etienne came to Glasgow about 10 years ago, and I wanted to do something at college that I was really passionate for, you know. And I decided to join Clydebank College for like film and media. So that's why I started doing my course for over 3 years, NC, HND, HNC, all that, you know. Then when I finished, I went to Glasgow University. And then along the journey, I was already shooting music videos and freestyles in Glasgow. You know, the music scene, you know, started booming back in the day. And before that, when I finished uni, I had done a few documentaries for like the Scottish government, done a few short films with some of my friends I was, you know, working with, like Justin John, like you mentioned earlier when you asked me about him, and other few friends who have been really creative. And then 2 years ago, about 1 year ago, we did our own feature film, 19 Wheel Place, set in Glasgow. It's a psychological horror film.
Where was that put? Did you release that and had a proper release?
We just want to negotiate with people who want to put it over to Netflix and Amazon. So that's why it's not out yet. But the trailers are like online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that, and then so I've been shooting the film and then the music videos, and then I wanted to kind of venture back to film because that has been always my passion, always, because music videos has been always like practice, you know, cinematography, camera angles, you know, storytelling.
Is there a lot of demand for the music videos? So especially in Glasgow, there's a lot of like young people that are like, oh, I want to make a video, and like some of the stuff, I've seen some of the stuff you've done, and the quality is just next level, like MTV.
Yeah, quality. Man. Yeah, like obviously when you look at my first video, it was pretty bad. So obviously gradually you get better with time. And thanks for the compliment. Obviously, with time you get better. And yeah, Glasgow here, the guys were like, "Oh, we want a video," and they'll pay you 100 few quid. And then they're like, "Okay, show me a video." And then I started doing that. Some I did for free, and then I started getting bigger budget videos, not as high budget as you would expect, but I decided that the market here for music videos at a level which I am right now was not as there as much. You know, you wouldn't live on it. So I decided to like, okay, I'm gonna focus on writing and film, you know, and that's the journey really summarized in a really short.
So, have you always been a fan of like superheroes, or is this how did Beats of War come about?
Okay, so superheroes, I was like, cause I'm a DJ, right, for fun. Like I play in different festivals. I play with some of my friends, so I always played as a DJ. But I always when I first got here, Avatar had just been released. So that was my first experience with 3D. So I was like, holy moly, how do you do that? These characters, and then they're so
that took about 10 years to make that film.
10 years.
You probably don't know how much effort and time has to go into even creating something.
Yeah, so
like this.
When I watched Civil War, that's the first time, I was like, superheroes. And then I watched Black Panther. I was like, there's not much black superheroes out there, even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or DC. They're there, but they're just in the back. They don't like, you know, huge. So I was like, I'm a DJ. I love music. And then I had lived in Scotland for some years. And obviously I have had my experiences, both good and bad, living in Glasgow. And I was like, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, actually, when this idea came to me. I was like,
that's when the best ideas come about, when you're in that time slot, when you're just like, your brain won't stop.
Are you the same?
There's every idea I've had, like if it's for like scripts or anything that I've wrote, it's always been about that time. It's always by accident. It's always something that just happens in your head and you're like, oh, I need to do this. And sometimes I get annoyed because I don't write it down, and the next day I forgot about it, and then it'll come back to me again like 2 months later at the same time. I'm like, no, I need to remember this.
Yeah. So it's so weird. So what I've got, like, I've got a little notebook, and I've got my phone that is always up for notes at night. If I wake up and I get an idea, I write it down. So I started doing sketches about this character. I feel like I wanted to change my image as a DJ, but I'm like, because I'm a filmmaker, I can still tell these stories that I want to tell because I can have access to big budgets right now. I can tell these stories of where I'm from here in Glasgow, incorporating where I come from, like our story. So I was like, there's a lot of crime and gangs and police brutality and the police doing their stuff, and the big music scene in Glasgow. I was like, I could incorporate that because music is the one universal language we speak. So I feel like it could be like, oh, this character comes from a planet with no music, and then he's introduced to the music, but also fights crime in the new city, you know. So I also wanted to cover stories of where I come from and Glasgow as my new home. So it came to me like 3 o'clock in the morning, wrote down the idea, started doing some sketches for like 3 months. I was like, this is never going to happen. And then I called this guy called Gary. He's like, let's have coffee. You know, and then from there, man, like, it's where it started.
So it's not just like it tells a story. So this is issue 1. So there is other parts, I presume,
To it, yes.
that you're working on. But this tells a story when E.T.
Mm-hmm.
He arrives,
Yes.
and he's sort of just learning. He hears music, I think, for the first time in the club, and then there's a few, like, he gets involved in like a gang and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not just the comic book. There's another, like, you've created like a whole soundtrack for it.
Yes. So the comic book, those are his stories that he's experiencing. You know, he meets a bit of Neds. I don't think you've read it as well. And then the music is what he's doing with the humans to kind of, you know, experiment the music because he's new to it. And also he's doing that because music is the one universal language. So he's trying to get people together through music and dance. So the music goes along with the comic book. So that's why it's kind of linked to Spotify, and you can see his music and then back to the story.
There's another element, like he meets the 2 guys that, like, he's got an issue on his planet. He's been sent, he's came here, and there's a way that he can heal people.
Mm-hmm. He's got that.
And he needs, like, is it 2 scientists?
Yeah, the 2 scientists.
So he wants to link up with it. By the end, I'm not going to give you the whole story, but there's more to it. But you try to relate it to yourself. Do you think that there's maybe people here that came from Africa that can gain skills and possibly take
back?
I mean, because the world's a lot smaller now. There's a lot of people that do even music videos across. I see people flying back,
doing amazing things.
And there's a lot of like dance videos now going on in Africa and things. So, but there's a lot of community things that happen here that we can copy and take back. But so it's the idea that you've came to the UK and there's things that you're learning here that you can possibly take back.
And then that's the same idea of here, things I'm learning, they're helping to change where I come from. And also then my new home is learning things from me, you know, things that could help him. So it's a 50-50 it's just the togetherness, you know, bringing people together and sharing, like you've said, and learning from each other. So.
Yeah, because there's also an element of you teaching people through the story, what your life has been like and what it's like in Glasgow, and you're bringing in a combination of things to teach people. Also try to reach people that possibly maybe wouldn't read comic books.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people in the music scene in Glasgow that you know the lifestyles are a bit glamorous and they're sort of focused on their parties, their Instagram and things like that. But I think this is a way that you could reach out. Because like it is a big, like, now comic book films have now adapted into the biggest market now in the movies. It's
a big market, and I feel like obviously there's things that I cannot shoot in music videos and show because either budgets and maybe at the time of my life where I am right now, you know, but comic books is easier for me to convey that message, you know. There's a lot you've got from it. Other people get their own messages. Yeah. So you change people's perspective, and, you know, I think it's great for the future generation. And the musicians also see like, oh, damn, this is my street, or this Queen Elizabeth Hospital, because you see it there as well. So little elements that kind of show Glasgow. There's something really special about the town and, you know, Scotland that I feel like it's important to highlight in the comic.
Yeah. So what's the plan? I mean, you've been taking pre-orders for the book. We'll put the details up so people. I think how much is it to
it's
order?
like £5.
£5.
$4.99. It's a copy, you know, and then you can pay like extra £2 for postage. First class, it's with you. That's in the UK, and abroad it's more like £10 for postage because obviously extra charges going abroad. But it's £5. It's not expensive. But what I've done, I've donated to a few charities in Edinburgh, and they've gotten back and been like, okay, we will share your stuff, and other people from there have donated to my next issue, because
things will always come back. See, the more, like, I mean, you sent us the issue before, like a way back. You to my and said, "Oh, we'll send it." So I know you've been sending issues out to people to read.
Yeah.
You've been sharing a lot of the reactions that people have got and how they're feeling, like when they're opening it, and then afterwards when they read it and stuff, which is good. It's released on the 20th of July.
20th of July.
So that's like the official release. But what then happens from now? You're saying that BBC been in touch.
Yeah, BBC and a few organizations that I want to do work with me to kind of get it out there, and it's good for publicity. And right now a lot of kids are like in lockdown, they don't have much going on, but if they can kind of sit and read this, there's a bit of a coloring board that I put in there, so it gets them active, and they can get the stories of other characters that are actually based where they come from. And
I think that's the part. I mean, right now Glasgow is now refugees and asylum seekers have been coming to Glasgow for the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
There's always an issue that there's always new people coming. There's people that have moved on. But if you imagine there's like young refugees right now in Glasgow that can maybe, this is a character that they would possibly look up to.
Yeah.
And you're a character that they could look up to.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important, like, for people to read it first of all, but then learn more about what your experience is like, because I think you are the type of person that is able to tell that story, not just through speaking, but through different mediums like comic books, music, videos, whatever it is, films. Like, it's a way that people can tell the story. And I mean, it's not easy for a lot of people. There's a lot of single mothers. I used to a lot of single mothers that have came from Africa, maybe victims of trauma or torture, that are bringing up young boys that are the next generation that need to learn how to be, like,
be strong, stand up,
but be proud of where they're from as well, and be like, we can contribute, we can be somebody, we can, like, we know the stories of some people that get involved and some of the people that E.T.'s fighting in the story, but to move away from that and be the hero rather than be dragged into that lifestyle.
Plus, when you grow up watching like Batman and Superman, there's a way you feel like, either you're a kid and you get a toy of Batman, and there's just having that character that either looks like you or is in your city. It's just something, man. It means a lot, because we don't have many of these characters out there, and the representation of Glasgow. Imagine Ish2 coming and then you seeing these heroes flying over the bridge near the BBC. Like, these little things that people be like, oh, yeah, that they feel like they're connected to it,
I think it's exciting where your vision of this sort of goes. I can tell, like, it's looking at you, there's so much probably more still in your head. Like, this isn't the end of the story. There's more
to it
that's going to come out, and there's and just being from Glasgow and feeling like there isn't always proper role models for a lot of my friends, younger brothers and things. It's like it's good to have something like this that they can. Not just, I mean, my nephew he's a young white 13-year-old boy. Grows up in Renfrewshire, that he read it and he was like, "Oh, when's the next part coming out?" I was like, "I don't know." You need to wait. But it just shows, it speaks to a lot of different groups of people at the one time, which I think is important.
It's very important, and that's why you see even the comic book as well. When you read it, it's a diverse. There's different nationalities in there, and obviously you grow up knowing Batman and Gotham, which is New York. Now let's create our own universe, which is based in Scotland.
Well, a lot of these films, they film scenes in Glasgow. They come to Glasgow because the architecture's similar and things like that. So
we can switch it up and let it be a character.
We'll be going to New York to film scenes for.
That's it. Like, I think about when you go and watch these Marvel movies, man, the excitement, the hype. Like, it's cause they inspire us, they give us hope, they make us feel good about the future, even though you cannot fly as a person, but there's a way they make you feel proud and, become a great citizen as well, influencing the future generation. So I think it's pretty good, man.
It's brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming. No doubt we'll see you again. We'll share the links to where people can buy the comic book. If you even if you're not interested in comic books, buy the comic book. Take my word for it. It's some different, brilliant read. the songs on Spotify. So we'll get links up for the songs as well. But Etienne, thank you so much for coming in.
Appreciate
our
it.
Our first episode, you're on it.
Yeah,
So
I appreciate it.
JTV hopefully takes off and we can take off together.
I'm gonna be like one of many that started off with you guys for the first interviews. I appreciate you inviting me here, and just let people follow me and see if they can get a copy all over social media. It's everywhere and through your channel as well. And I appreciate it.
Right, my man.
All right.
Thank you so much. So that was Etienne Kubbabo, who is the writer of Beats of War. As I said, details are up on the screen of where you can get it. jatvscotland.com/JTV show. You'll find links on where you can buy it. It is only $4.99. Even if you're not a comic book fan, you want to support a young, aspiring writer and director, then please do it. He has gave some copies of the comic to charity, and they've been using it to generate funds. So that's it for me this week. As I said, as a short episode, I did want to definitely get something out. Future shows will have more guests, more discussions, more debates. As I said, we will try and get Daniel from Disability Law Centre on our show to discuss the face mask. So let me know what your opinion is on face masks and wearing them, and what you think people should and shouldn't be doing. Is there any tips? I know there was an optician that was showing people how you can wear face masks and it's not going to steam up your glasses. I've got a friend who literally just told me that when he wears a face mask, it dries out his contact lenses. So is there any tips on how you can stop that? It's a new world we're living in, so we do need to look at ways to support each other and just love each other a bit more. Don't be too aggressive with people. Try and do what you can to help them. So that's my final thought of today. I will be back on Friday evening, as I said, the JTV Raw Friday night boxing. JTV Raw Takeover, Friday night boxing and the JTV show is coming from the Jury's Boxing Club, where I will be meeting the Archie Jury and some of the professional and Olympic style boxers at his gym. Until then, that's me. Thanks so much for watching. Keep liking, sharing the page. I really, really appreciate it. Good night, guys. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your evening.